Hello and welcome to Sing the Score. Ah, that's better. Thank you very much.
Is that all right at the back?
Yes, absolutely lovely. Thank you. Super. Next week, I Fagiolini goes back to the Renaissance for an absolute classic by Monteverdi. But this week, it's to South Africa and a piece by our great friend Bheka Dlamini, whom I recently hooked up with again after 12 years on a research trip to Johannesburg. Bheka is also a taxi driver, which, in Johannesburg, is less a form of travel subject to rules of the road and more a form of conceptual art. I was very excited to have a go in it. I'm in Bheka's taxi in Joburg.
Hi. Hi, people.
Say hi to the Fadge.
Hi, the Fagiolini. Good to be with Robert here in Joburg.
Killarney. If you don't know about I Fagiolini's South African adventure, it dates back to 1995 when we were performing in South Africa, Bach, Purcell and Monteverdi, but we were introduced to a male voice choir as part of the trip called Sedasa Chorale, the Seventh-day Adventist Student Association of Soweto, the huge township on the side of Johannesburg. Sedasa and I Fagiolini worked together for just a day and a half, but we put together 2 tracks, each group presenting one piece and the other doing something new on the top of it, the idea being that each group should learn about the other's style and then create something new together. The piece we took with us was the beautiful round R. Robin by the 16th century English composer William Cornish. On top of that, Sedasa Chorale, led by Mokali Koapeng, put down a sort of choral backing, and on top of that, Bheka Dlamini improvised a song. Later, in 1997, we went back and made a whole album with the group called Simunye, the Zulu word for We Are One. It was the most successful CD we've ever made, now sadly deleted, though I Fagiolini friends have access to copies. Another reason to join our niche and inexpensive friends group. R. Robin is the one track I particularly associate with this album, really because of Bheka's singing in it. He was one of 4 composers involved in the project, and his particular speciality is isicathamiya style, which he was really immersed in. You may know this from the world-famous group Ladysmith Black Mambazo. It's almost exclusively a male voice tradition with a complex history that goes back into the influence of 19th century Anglican missionary hymns, also visiting groups from the USA, black groups in the 1890s and 1900s, and then wedding songs. And it really kicks off in the 1930s. And there are 2 words you'll hear used to describe it. The first is mbube, which means lion, and this sort is sung strongly, and the most famous group of the period was this one here, Solomon, Linda and the Evening Birds. Great name, great suits. That's Linda on the left-hand side. The groups were 1-2 apart before his group came along, but he reinforced the bass, which makes acoustically great sense. You have 3 basses, 1 tenor, 1 alto and 1 leader. They made this recording in 1939, for which they were famously not properly paid until their descendants sued Disney in 2006, settled out of court. Try to ignore the instrumental accompaniment, which was insisted on by the record company, thinking it would appeal more to contemporary taste. That song, Mbube, gave its name to the style, which is also called isicathamiya. But Joseph Shabalala, the leader of Ladysmith Black Mambazo, who died just earlier this year, says that a number of different styles can fit under that bigger umbrella of isicathamiya. He says mbube is a heavier style, as we just heard there, but the clue to isicathamiya itself is in the literal translation of the word, to walk softly like a cat. And it can be a much lighter style than we just heard. In 2018, when I was in South Africa, I got to hear a group live, the Mtuba Tulisa brothers. They let me sit in on a session. And they have the same layout, 3 basses, a tenor, an alto and a lead. And you can see how this walking cat style is absolutely integral to what they do.
Oh yeah.
The history of isicathamiya is of course concurrent with the history of white oppression in South Africa until the early 1990s. The groups were usually migrant workers, especially focused around Durban and Johannesburg, where the culture is mostly Zulu. So Zulu, which is one of 11 South African languages, is the language you hear generally in isicathamiya. The style of the music is call and response, and as you can hear, the call is highly improvised, and pieces can go on for some time, entirely dependent on the energy of the singer and the response that he gets from the audiences. Evangelini was taken to a performance at Kwatema, just outside Johannesburg, in 1997. And the performers were prison choirs, allowed out to perform, but with their wives in the audience. And there was this fantastic tension in the room, exhilaration really. Lots of audience ululating, shouting "Musho" and throwing small coins. Harmonically, the music doesn't go far. It's much more about the solo lead and the moves and that slightly intoxicating harmonic repetition, in fact. A performance was often at all-night Saturday gatherings because of the curfew happening in workers' hostels. And remarkably, here is a bit of footage, very home camera quality, but absolutely the real thing, shot by Professor Veit Earlman from one of these competitions. It was this isicathamiya style that imprinted itself so strongly on my mind during those trips to South Africa in the 1990s. And taking the lead on this for Sadaza Chorale was Bheka Dlamini, a native of KwaZulu-Natal. And I asked him to write us a piece, and he came up with Woah Lashona, which is about when the sun is going down and you're far from home and you don't know where you're going to sleep. It's written mostly for altos, tenors and basses, also with just a little part for the sopranos to join in at the end. In Zulu there are 3 clicks and they're notated as X, C and Q, but they're pronounced Sadly, there are no words with them in this piece, but I think you should say them anyway. Also, TH is notated as TH, but it's pronounced T, so amatuns, not amathuns. And the final I is also not pronounced at the end of words. So Bheka Dlamini becomes Bheka Dlamini, and we've put them in brackets to help with that. And come to think of it, ifajulin.
Hi, ifajulin.
Let's look at the opening. I'll read and you copy. Woah Lashona woah. Lashona klizon tabama. Here's what that bit looks like on the score. And bear in mind that this is very much an oral tradition, and so reading from a score requires a little bit of flexibility and imagination. Have a couple of goes at it and use your ears as much as your eyes as you go along. Amatunza semada yopala lemazansi. Isi baka baka sesi beji gazi.
Amatunza semada yopala lemazansi. Isi baka baka sesi beji gazi.
The lead voice only. Awebeke lepaya, awebeke lepaya. Gimbona mankanka nendize lekuden. Ayaka layola lemanwen. Ayaka layola lemawen. Omina angazing zola la kwaban. Omina angazing zola la kwaban.
Omina angazing zola la kwaban.
Then there's some English before no makanjan. Gyofi ke kaya. No makanjan. Gyofi ke kaya.
No makanjan. Gyofi ke kaya.
Then there's a repeating end that builds up gradually from the basses, with the altos singing Si kaya. Ekaya siofika Lashona. Si ekaya siofika Lashona. And the sopranos Arieng haye, arieng siofika Lashona. Arieng haye, arieng siofika Lashona. So this is Woah Lashona by Bheka Dlamini, and when I saw him last, he had a little hello for the Fajulini friends.
Hello, my friend. This is Bheka Dlamini. Hello, friends of Ifajulin. Good to hear about you after so many years. We will lastly meet. Hoping the best that we'll meet again and work on another wonderful project. All the best, guys.
And instead of your episode payment this week going to Ifajulini, we'll be sending whatever you send across to Bheka direct. So do pop across to ifajulini.com/friends, where you can easily make a single payment referencing it Bheka, spell it any way you like. By the way, UK taxpayers do tick that gift aid box so we can make the most of your donation. If you'd like to know more about the collaboration between I Fagiolini and Sodaza Chorale, we've just this week released a documentary about it that we shot in 2006 when Simunyi toured the UK. We never quite got around to doing anything with it, but now you'll find it at our Vimeo site for a very modest download charge. Now here's Greg Skidmore, who has sung this piece, and the warning.
Dudes, I'm guessing singing in Zulu will be new to a lot of people, but enjoy it, just copy the sounds. We're going to play the song twice, the first time just to hear it and enjoy it with the translation, the second time with the score. The performance is from 2002 in Embrunnet Abbey in France, just after a load of Tallis and Taverner, so that was weird.
Isi Bhagavan Sisi Veshikasi. Huebekele Bayangi, Mona Magagan, Gizele Kude. Hayakana Yolali Mamwe, Omina Angazi, Lala Kwaba. Where to this winding road? Where to this riding road? It's muddy and rough, but no matter what it takes, this road will lead me home. No, my Kanja, your feet are carry on just for a while. Zoom dibby 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 zumba. Zoom dibby 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 zumba. Zoom dibby 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 zumba.